He's the only.
I have watched
guy
these
who
mailing
knows.
list discussions.
Yes.
Don't tell me
one.
it's Johan. Don't tell me it's Johan.
I can't remember.
no?
I can't remember his name, but
Yo CH something AN something. Let me see.
I don't
if
think his
it's
name's
him.
Johan.
Wait. Gnome.
let's see. Group details.
Desktop.
I mean, I don't know his name, but I'm pretty sure it's not Johan. Like,
No.
Oh,
wait.
we went live. We went live.
We're live?
Oh, no.
Yeah, we just went live. It
Oh,
is John
man.
Alexander
Heads up.
Steffens.
Oh, you guys wanted to know that? That's fine.
He's well, we're sitting here. We're talking about other things right now.
Well, you guys were busy. You guys were having a conversation. I was here working my ass off.
yeah, but we could have been, unknowingly or at the very least not wanting to.
We could have been
French
spilling
hate
secret information for all you know.
I know it's
Well,
John.
no, I mean, like there's a difference between having a friendly conversation between friends about potentially not so nice guys, and then doing it publicly. Like one's definitely okay, one not.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, anyways, guys, I'm officially kicking Matt out of the podcast. By the way, guys, this is the Linux Cast. We're just a bunch of nerds here, and I'm Josh.
You literally have no power
Tyler?
to kick me out of my own podcast.
Oh shit, you're right.
Oh, I'll happily take the day off. Tyler just gonna have to start streaming on his channel if he remembers how to log in.
no, dude, I definitely don't remember my password. Come on now, there's no way.
He's on a hiatus again. Too much zero AD. He could be streaming that stuff and everybody be happy about it.
He could be.
Well,
Or,
see,
you could-
the problem is I could definitely stream it, but there's gonna be like a very small group of people, like 40 people at the most, who are super stoked about it and who are gonna watch like a lot of it. And then all the rest of the people are going to be like, dude, could you like do anything else other than play Zero AD? Because I looked at your channel and there's 19 live streams going on for like at least 5 hours each. Like, could you, okay, just so people have a context around how bad my Zero AD addiction is, me and Josh had to call a truce after playing with just women and worker elephants for over 5 hours. And we were at a stalemate for 3 of those hours.
I think both of us had like 60 plus houses just sitting there constantly spawning women, and then they were just throwing we were just throwing them at each other at the middle of the fucking map because that was the only path we had to each other.
Yeah. It was pure cancer. It was terrible. But at the same time, surprisingly enough, it didn't really get boring until the last 4 hour mark. Like up until then, like
It was actually pretty exciting when there was more than just the two of us.
Yeah. Dude,
Steve won't be joining us. He's going to be playing whatever that is.
Steve's got to come in low key with the Diablo plug, just being like, hey.
He's got to be. He's got to be.
Just
In the
saying.
meantime, guys, I'm the only one here still with the Crunchbang system.
That's not true.
That's
Bullshit. You're not screen capping it.
I can show you right now. There we go.
I can't see because I can't see your camera.
I'm putting it live on stream, dude.
Dude, the live stream is pretty far behind. I ain't seeing it right now.
Even though it
I'm
says
just worried about it.
Even though it says Debian, because apparently changing the name of the distro is much too hard for them.
Don't mind me.
Well, here's the thing about downstream Debian forks. The only way you can actually adjust that is to actually change the /etc OS release file, which apt will actually override for you every time you run an upgrade.
Yep, I know. I was just being funny. But anyways, yes, I still have the system. I've been playing around with it for a whole week, just like I was told to.
Is it powering the stream or is it in a virtual machine?
It's in a virtual machine. I don't trust
it. Doesn't count.
It does to count. The challenge was to install it. It was never said it had to be installed on hardware.
I have a point there.
Well, you definitely didn't make a video about it.
That's true. I did ignore that. But technically, this is on my channel. This is me making a video about
This
it.
counts. I'm with that on this. This does count.
I made the first video. That means I win.
People in the chat, have fun with these guys. They installed something Linux. I'll be playing Diablo 4.
Oh, wait a second.
Enjoy.
Wait a second. Somebody here in the chat. Let's see. Oh, I don't have them still. Okay.
Dude, what are you doing? Oh, you put in that dirty nano.
Yeah.
Come on now.
Yeah. Let's see here. I can't remember what all repositories I want to be doing, but if we switch Bullseye to Bookworm, is it with an O or a U for worm?
It's an O.
It's an O.
In what universe is it a U?
That's how you spell worm.
what?
It's not worm.
Hey, Matt.
Sorry.
You live in Michigan. I live in Ohio. I make up my own version of English.
I'm pretty sure that even in Ohio they spell it with an O.
Well,
it's like their favorite letter. OSU, you know. Like
I've been out to Ohio, and they have some interesting ways of saying and spelling things. Also, Ohio is one of those places where it's not technically the South, but yet they still say y'all. And it is definitely not just a word, but part of the vocabulary and definitely the dictionary as well. So, yeah.
Somebody said that I was an OpenBox noob. I'm not, in fact, an OpenBox noob. I used OpenBox for a good portion of time a couple years ago.
Okay, guys.
OpenBox is good.
I see 1,596 package updates.
Go ahead and do it, dude. Risk it for the biscuit, bro.
No, what you guys didn't know is that Ohio actually starts with a U.
Yeah. Hey.
There we go. System is updating now. We'll find out if this thing reboots.
Flawless gaming, huh? Flawless gaming.
Steve, why'd you even bother showing up, man? You should just go. You should just go play some Diablo, man.
Because I love you, bud. Because I love you. I just want to be part of your podcast.
I got a thing.
We're obviously taking over your playtime.
I love how he's like, dude, I love you, man. Like,
tell you what, if he's going to pull out his thing, if he's going to pull out his Steam Deck, I'm going to pull out its competitor.
Oh, gross.
To be honest, I never. I'm talking to you guys and I'm playing. See, without looking.
Hey, me and chat. If there's one thing chat will agree with me on, it's that we now just absolutely must shame Josh for the rest of the podcast. Like, look, sure, the Switch is a great product, but you just brought it out next to us.
Okay, so here's the thing about this Switch. This Switch is a hijacked Switch, and I use it purely for ripping Switch games off. And then I just play
use it
and then
criminal activity.
Yes, I use it for criminal activity. I pirate the games that I actually own, and I rip them and then I play them through an emulator. And the reason why I'm publicly announcing this is because it's Matt's channel, and I want him to get the DMCA.
No, I don't think anyone's gonna DMCA except for your channel, man. YouTube's gonna do some deep diving on you, man. They're gonna look into all you, especially when Nintendo finds out about it. They're gonna be like, one guy is ripping our stuff.
One guy.
We're gonna take care of him.
Tell you what. They're gonna take me to court. They're gonna make me pay $14 million in fines, of which I will never be able to pay that off in my lifetime whatsoever. Unless
you wish Nintendo would take you to court, dude. They're just gonna pinch you over their knee and give you your bottom of good spanking, dude. That's what
I'm gonna pull out some good old U.S. copyright law on them, fresh out of 1993. Yeah, VCRs.
Nah, dude, you're just about to have a massive corporation binge you over and spank you, dude. That's what's gonna happen.
It hasn't crashed. It hasn't crashed the X session yet, so I'm already doing better than DT.
17 gold. Yeah.
You're a little early to be saying that. You don't want to like knock on some wood or something, Josh?
Nope.
Right,
We're actually installing the updates now. Unpacking it. You saw app do the responsible thing and ask me to do if it's allowed to do things.
That's gross. I like my package managers like I like my people, asking for forgiveness, not for permission. You know. I just want my package manager to come to me and be honest. Be like,
no. What it is that I know what distro you're on right now, and you want your package manager to call you an idiot and tell you exactly how to fix your issue.
Wait a minute, hold on a second. What?
Yeah.
And then you not understand that it's telling you how to do that.
Tyler,
Yes,
what
my
distro are you on?
Take a guess.
Are you on Windows again?
No.
No.
Gentoo?
It ends with a ooh.
That's it, guys. That's it. This is now officially a Gentoo video.
Out of all of us, he's the one that's on Gentoo. That's funny.
Dude, I'm running a purely Hyperland, Wayland, like Pipewire, beautiful Gentoo ButterFS installation.
Okay, so we know Steve's using Zero Linux. Josh, what's your main one right now?
Oh, I'm not using Zero Linux. Who said I'm using Zero Linux?
If you need to know, I'm doing a personal challenge to myself. I am doing no terminal Fedora Silverblue.
Okay. What are you actually on then, Steve, if you're not using your own distro?
Oh, no.
He's not even listening. Well, anyways,
he's on SteamOS.
I'm an OpenSUSE tumbleweed.
What is happening?
Oh, by the way, Matt, Steve's name might be Steve's camera might be placed a little bit too low. It's covering part of his name.
I'm sure it is.
I'm not using Zero Linux. Who said?
What are you using?
Debian.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Steve's a Debian boy now.
Yeah.
Zero Linux is getting rebased to Debian GNOME.
Yeah. We're gonna spank his bottom too.
Is that actually true? No, you guys are trolling me right now, right?
No, it's actually true. It's actually happening.
Yeah. He's going Debian. He's like, I like it. I mean, I don't know why.
It's stable.
I'm being trolled.
It's stable.
Someone in chat said Tyler's Gentoo sounds buggy. It's not buggy, man. It's not buggy. Don't call.
What I can't believe is you installed Gentoo and didn't stream it.
That is true. Well, I mean, I can.
Do you guys want to know that? Do you guys want to know why I tend to stream every single one of my Gentoo installs?
So you can get 12 different ways of doing things recommended in the chat?
Actually, no. The only reason why I stream it is because if I stream my Gentoo installation, I'm more committed to actually finishing that installation.
By the way,
sometimes it's just like I just feel like doing something productive, so I'll just reboot. I'll just blow that install away and go into something else.
They did it again. In-game transactions.
That's why I'm not playing it.
It's Activision Blizzard, of course. They've been doing that for ages in all their games.
Yeah.
Hearthstone is like the worst. Like that thing used to be free to play. It technically still is, but it's not. It's not. They released so many new cards you can't keep up.
Weren't you like super big into Hearthstone, man?
Yeah, I still play it from time to time. I still refuse to pay any money though. so my card deck is like 3-4 years behind. It's ridiculous. It's so bad. So I can't even play in the standard ladder anymore. I have to play in any of the challenges where they actually give you the cards to play it. So I can't craft my own deck.
No, what you need to do is you just need to play 20 hours of Hearthstone every single day. And that's how you get caught back up.
Oh, you can't because you can only earn so much gold every day. You can only earn a set limit of gold.
Well, never mind then. Never mind.
Yeah, they limited because people were doing that. They were playing a whole bunch and getting all the gold.
I used to play Hearthstone like for hours and hours and hours every day. I got bored because it became so repetitive.
Yeah, but you really.
I'm done with that.
You've got to be a really big trading card game.
I got introduced to trading card games in Hearthstone, basically.
Yeah, that was my first one too. I never played Magic. All right, guys, we should go ahead and get started. Everybody have their recording apparatus ready to go.
I'm totally not opening it.
I have the world's greatest sound recording application pulled up right now. It is literally called Sound Recorder, and that is the project's name.
The last time you used that, audio. I'm pretty sure it failed.
Tyler?
Yes.
Ocean Audio will forever be a stable of Zero Linux. Why? Because it works, and you're the one who told me.
It's better than Audacity. It's better than Audacity. It actually works. Like, I'm using Audacity right now, and I'm going to press this button, and I'll bet you $15 it does not pick up the right device. All right, so this is it testing. Let me stop.
You should tap your mic. That's when you really know.
Yeah.
Dude, did it actually pick up the right mic? Hold on.
So it was just all $15.
We better hold it to him. Actually working. Let's not give it too much credit.
Like I actually,
my solution, Tyler.
What's your solution, man?
I write my own custom pipe wire plumber configuration that automatically eliminates all other input devices except for the one, and it's written in a text file that's indexed every time wire plumber starts. So therefore, the system will only ever see one input device, and that's the one that Audacity will pick.
AKA scratch your nose with your left foot.
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, look at this thing go. It is just a thing of beauty. Look at that. It is so simplistic. I got a stop button.
He's also already recording. I haven't said to record yet. So.
I'm already recording. Okay, so I can stop it.
Yep. Stop it,
and then we can just blow it away, just like that. Look how easy that was.
And then
it's almost like this thing works.
Like, look. All right. Here's the thing. Me, Matt, and Steve must come together on this. See, you've continuously done this, where you will start recording before it starts. I think we must come together and purchase a cattle prod and just prepare, have a meeting, and take care of this. I think poor Joshy needs a little bit of discipline. And some herding away from that their record button preemptively.
I just when he assumes that when I say, "Do you have your recording apparatus up?"
Hang on, guys. Apt is prompting me with something here. Crypt setup init RAM FS config hook modified by either me or Script's installation distributor has shipped an updated version. Do I want to install the package maintainers version and potentially break my system, or do I want to keep my currently installed version and hope and pray that it's backwards compatible? Or forwards compatible, I mean.
Can't you do both?
Do both.
I can show the differences.
Dude, just take the default. Just take the default, brother.
Just take the default? Oh,
yeah,
okay.
Just take the default.
Okay.
You're a brave
just wanted
man.
to check on that. Just wanted to get you guys' opinions.
Where'd Steve go?
He ran away.
Like, we're not supposed to be starting the podcast or anything. All right, guys, we're gonna start without him. Steve!
He just got up.
Somebody calling my name.
Hip dad.
Where are you going,
Wayfire.
man?
I finally got Wayfire to actually function, and I'm working on figuring out how I want to have it configured. But I am working on a video for Wayfire.
There's no way this podcast does not go completely off the rails. I'm just...
Oh, it's going off the rails.
Judging by the pre-show, we haven't even started yet.
It's going off the rails. It's going off the rails.
The chat's just been watching me upgrade the bookworm.
All right, we're gonna get started. Okay, go ahead and hit the record button in Audacity or whatever you're using. I'm gonna hit record in OBS. Tyler, you can do the claps because last week we completely forgot to do the claps. We didn't even do them.
Wait.
Steve's not ready. He's got to plug his Steam Deck in so he can keep playing. It's true. I thought it was true.
Oh, I'm ready. Now I'm ready, sir.
All right. A 3, a 2, and a 1.
That wasn't even close, but it's all right.
That was terrible. On my end, it looked horrific.
Oh, it was bad. I'm pretty sure you went first, which would be the way it should go, and then Josh was like 5 minutes later, but it's okay. I think the latency this week is... We're just going to blame the latency. It has to be the latency.
First of all, disclaimer, Zany, you're not allowed to look at chat.
Cool, okay. That was good.
Why?
That's fine. I don't know what's going on.
Because somebody might be in a certain game's lobby right now.
Oh, he's gonna get tempted by 080.
Yeah,
Dude,
yeah. Okay.
I won't do it.
Guys.
He's gonna reboot.
There it goes.
Wait, why do you have to do the system CTL reboot? Isn't that not
because reboot and Crunchbang isn't symlinked to the proper thing. Neither is power off, by the way.
I mean,
I didn't even notice that. Okay.
I just don't even assume that they set the symlinks right, so I just tell systemd to handle it for me.
It's amazing how many distributions don't actually do the symlink for it. You guys notice that Steve's not listening to us. He's actually got music on right now. he's just completely ignoring us.
Dude, he's bopping, dude.
It's like it better be some good shit, man. Metallica or something. I don't know.
Dude, I know exactly what he's listening to. It's the soundtrack of Diablo 4.
Okay. Let's see.
I know exactly what he's
No, man. You look at him. He's a Swiftie. You know he's a Swiftie.
Oh, it booted. All right, so Josh is in on Bookworm.
I want Bookworm, but ISO is not up yet.
Not yet, but soon.
I have Bookworm on my other hard drive on my computer.
You must have RC4 because the ISO is
RC4,
still 11. Because only 11.7 is stable currently on sub website.
Yeah, I couldn't get Bookworm to install on this computer, so I went with Bookworm.
Okay, I'm on Bookworm.
That's great. All right, so if you watch this, so let's go ahead and get started, guys. Me, then Josh, then Tyler, then Steve. Okay.
I'm second, boys.
I just went around in the circle. Sorry. That's it. All right. Hey, everybody! Welcome to the Linux Cast. I'm your host, Matt,
and I'm Josh.
I'm Tyler. I try to go out of order. My bad.
We do prepare for these things.
I am the Lord of Terror, Diablo.
Steve's obsessed, man. He's got an obsession. It's Diablo 4. He's not even here. He's listening to the soundtrack. He's got Diablo on his Steam Deck next to him. He's not going to be very present.
He's only here physically. I mean, mentally, he's literally in Diablo 4.
Diablo is here. Hey guys, I'm Steve.
I've got the dogs barking outside.
All right. So if you guys have any clue what this is the Linux Cast. This is going to be the most on-point Linux Cast
blast
ever.
The Linux blast.
I'm sure. For those of you who are listening to the audio, it's going to be an entertaining show for you, I'm sure. But we're gonna do something new that we haven't done before. So when it was just Tyler and I, way back when, we did a challenge called the Bash Challenge, and it was fun. That was when Terminal for Life was still around, and we knew he was going to review it afterwards, and that just made it even more fun.
Yeah.
So that has to have been at least 2 years ago. We finally decided to do another challenge, and it was Tyler's turn to pick the challenge. So the challenge was to use Crunchbang++ for a week, and there was an addition on there, a proviso, that we had to make a video about it. Now, Josh made a video about it. I'm making this video about it, so if you ain't cheating,
I made the first video. You waited for a live stream, so therefore I think I win the challenge by default.
Who said there was going to be any winners? Well, I think there's 3 winners on here. Steve's just the loser. Because he
only spent like 15 minutes in it.
He hates window managers with a passion, but we'll talk about that. Anyways,
technically speaking, you two are the only ones that. I never specifically stated a video. I just said you had to make. Well, actually, no, I did say you had to make a video about it. But
yeah, you did.
You can make the argument that a live stream is video. So yeah, you're doing it. So you two are the ones who have done the challenge to completion. However, I shilled it out and made a ton of people on my Discord. I forced like 12 people into running Crunchbang. So just on sheer starting a virus, I think I win. I think I infected more people.
All right. So let's first talk about what Crunchbang is. So it is a nostalgia distro, is what it is. And it runs open box. It's based on Debian. And it is... I'm hearing echoes all over the place, by the way, guys. I don't know.
That's what I've been pointing at for the past 5 minutes. Mr. Tyler has audio bleeding into his mic.
It's fixed. The WebRTC shouldn't be doing it, but I don't know.
Maybe if you were on Gentoo. Oh wait, you are on Gentoo.
Yeah.
Josh is cleverly pointing out the solution.
I know, but my dog ate all the cords to all my headphones, so that's not an
Oh right,
option.
blame Buddy. I'm sure it's Buddy's fault.
Yeah. I mean, he's not even here to defend himself.
Like we have wireless headphones, so what's the? Anyways,
I don't have any.
Hang on, let me browse Zany's Amazon wish list. Let's see, do I still have it bookmarked?
Yes. He'll be
No, I
some
don't.
nice headphones. I don't think I have any in my wish list though.
You probably don't.
Need to add that. Shit.
Anyway, we've already gone off the. It's not even 5 minutes in.
People. I'm not the loser here. There are no losers. It's just.
There's winners, and then there's Steve. No, sorry, Steve.
There's Steve. Yeah, sorry. I'm just Steve.
Wait just a second. Zany,
Yeah.
is your wish list no longer in your YouTube description?
Yeah, I took it out because I haven't been using it.
Well, because most of the stuff on his wish list was still from when he was going to go live in Arizona in the woods or something.
Well, I still am going to go do that eventually.
That's why we love you, Tyler.
Okay,
That's why we love you.
I pulled up an old video and I found it. There are no headphones on your wish list, so I can't buy you any headphones. Sorry.
All good. It's all good. I'll put some AirPod Maxes. Or like Pros
Anyways, we reviewed Crunchbang Plus this week, guys, and we're going to talk about it a little bit. We have some thoughts on this, I'm sure. I want to go first because there are some things that I just want to say about it. So first of all, if you've never used OpenBox before, OpenBox requires a little bit of mental gymnastics to get around what it is, because especially if you're coming from a tiling window manager, because it's technically a window manager, but it's not a tiling window manager. Steve, stop making fun of me.
Hey, so I got dogs barking outside, so I'm gonna go shut a window and a door and see if that quiets it up.
Okay. But anyway, so OpenBox is a floating window manager, and it is configured in a very special language called XML. And if you've never used XML, think HTML, but more special. You know, it's basically what it is. And the idea here, and I'm going to show this actually on camera, is that you can, you know, it's a floating window manager, just like you would see like in a Kitty or a GNOME or whatever. The windows float by default, and it has a menu system, so it's much more in line with people who are more mouse focused, and it is just very well done overall as a window manager, right? If you're not a tiling window manager person, but you don't want to use a full desktop environment, OpenBox is one of the best solutions, I've always thought. But it takes some getting around to the configuration file, because the configuration file is very special. But in terms of Crunchbang Plus for me, here's what I wanted to say. The default key bindings are not good. They're not good. Maybe I'm just too used to my own ways, but whoever did that, I'm not sure if you guys remember, OpenBox has been around for longer than I have been, so it's possible that these are like the default.
I saw you type that V, by the way.
Yeah, dude. A month later, I'm still doing it. Anyways, I guarantee the first thing I'm going to type in here is J. I'll forget and do J. I almost guarantee it. But anyways, this is the configuration file that you're seeing on screen. But the default key bindings, whoever coded them, whoever put them in, they're obsessed with the function keys. Like, obsessed with the function keys. I've never used the function keys more than I have during this challenge. Like, in order to change between screens or desktops, they call them desktops in OpenBox, you use super and then the function keys. And I was like, that just feels weird to me, because I'm so used to super and the number keys. So that's my biggest takeaway from it, is that I had to go through and change all of the key bindings. But anyways, Josh, you actually probably spent the most time on hardware with Crunchbang Plus. Why don't you tell us your thoughts?
Let's pull up. I've got Crunchbang set up right here on my laptop, which is an old ThinkPad, because, you know, if we're going to install Debian, it's got to be on an old ThinkPad system. Now, as somebody that's been using Linux for probably longer than anybody else here, this is how everybody would configure OpenBox back pre 2010. Like this is like old school OpenBox. Like I Super T for the terminal. That actually used to be a thing before like Ubuntu implemented the Control Alt T as the default key binding. Super T actually used to be the default terminal key binding for Ubuntu.
What does Ubuntu use for Control Super T now?
I don't think it's bound to anything right now.
Well, then why'd they change it? That's dumb. All right, sorry.
Yeah, but anyways, and you know it. I think if you're like if you've used OpenBox like forever ago, you might find something familiar with this, but like obviously like I didn't really do much of anything to the distro, and I've been able to like work with it perfectly fine. It's just that this is not how I would use OpenBox today, and but other than that, I think it's perfectly fine.
I actually don't think that the setup of it is that bad. I like where the 10 tooth panel is. I'd probably do some modifications of that to make the desktop implementations not so wide to take up the whole space.
Yeah.
And then I changed the key bindings, but other than that, it's fine. Obviously, I changed the GTK themes. Now, is this still GTK2? Is OpenBox still GTK2?
OpenBox does not actually natively use the GTK toolkit. 10.2, however, does. OpenBox uses the extended framework, which is what XFCE used to be based on before they rebased to GTK.
So this is even older.
Yeah, it's even older.
Yep.
And because OpenBox is OpenBox, OpenBox is the last remaining window manager or environment that still uses the extended framework, of which, and they were the last ones using it 6 years after it got deprecated.
Okay, the reason why I ask is because they use the XFCE customized look and feel panel.
Yeah, they have the XFCE stack. That's primarily what OpenBox is using. Like I open up my file manager, that's Thunar. The only thing that's not XFCE is a terminal, which I found out after some work or after some work, I've determined that this is Terminator, which by the way, if you're a window manager enthusiast from like 10 years ago, this terminal was the shit. If you weren't using URXVT, you were using Terminator.
A lot of people use Terminator. Yeah, because it has a lot of features, or at least it did. I'm not sure. Obviously, I haven't used it in ages.
I'll be back.
Because you can split it. You can split it horizontally. I think it has some Tmux features too.
Yeah, it does. It integrates with Tmux quite nicely for a terminal, which not a whole lot of terminals actually integrate with Tmux the way that a Tmux power user would actually use it. Which for the most part, what a lot of people do if like they're a super heavy Tmux user, they'll install like a minimal terminal, such as Alacrity with like basically next to nothing in the config. But Terminator actually does have some default integrations with Tmux if you were to actually install Tmux. That said, Crunchbang does not ship Tmux. It ships GNU Screen.
Which doesn't surprise me, actually, at all. I'm actually surprised at how... I mean... My biggest takeaway from this, guys, is that it's just basically Debian. I mean, they didn't do a lot of changing here.
I mean... That's basically like what some of my video was. Like, if you guys watched my video and you thought that I sounded extremely bored in that video, that's because I actually was.
It is one of those distros where if you're not if you didn't use it back in the day, like I used it back in the day, like it's really fun until the nostalgia wears off, or especially if you're someone with like super modern hardware, like Debian is just, it's not exciting because you have to do everything that would piss a Debian developer off to get a usable distribution. Either you have to pull a significant amount of stuff from backports, or you go onto the testing branch. Like, it's just, you don't run Debian stable. Like, Well, Bookworm's probably going to change that because now Bookworm is a thing. So Debian's actually going to be.
Well, it also depends on how much you're willing to buy into like how much you're willing to commit to actually running Debian stable. Because Buster was perfectly fine for like the entire duration of its run, and then what was it? Bullseye was perfectly fine for like the duration of its run. The only difference between Buster and Bullseye is that at the end of Bullseye's life, the version of Flatpak that they ship in Debian was so old that it could not run any modern Flatpaks. That's the only issue this time around. That said,
the big thing is like hardware support. Just because Debian, towards the end of its life, it's so out of date that most hardware you're having to pull from backports.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So the biggest problem with Debian, of course, is finding the proper ISO. Okay.
Well,
that remains the biggest problem with Debian. So
okay. Challenge accepted. We're going to see if I can find an ISO for Debian. So
it took me 5 minutes. No, guys, hold on a second. He's going to go to the front page and hit the download button and just prove that there's an ISO. That's not at all what I meant. Okay?
I mean, it's right there.
No.
Okay, first of all,
like this one over here.
They highlight the wrong thing. The link for the ISO is actually above the highlight, so you look at the highlight first, and by that time
you look at this one, right?
You've already passed the link to the ISO. The link to the ISO is right above that. Okay, but also that's not, as of right now, not the non-free, which everybody actually needs. Okay.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about like this one right here, AMD 64. I would like an ISO. So I don't want to pull a BD, CD, or DVD. I think the DVD will be fine. Scroll down to the bottom. Oh, look, it's right there. Download.
Why the fuck is it buried all the way down there?
I mean, it's definitely a lot of clicks. Definitely a lot of clicks.
It's also the guy's been using Debian for 20 years, and he knows how to get to the ISO. Congratulations, bro. you know, if a new user was trying to do that,
still proved our point, though. Like the download button for the non-free should be pretty easy. Like, if you're just going to assume most people are going to have an AMD 64 and give them a direct click to it, why not also give them just a direct click to the non-free ISO AMD 64? Not that hard. Well,
okay, so the good news is that they are changing it. Actually, should be today, honestly. Supposedly
it already has.
Well, obviously they haven't changed
it. The only thing is that Debian is a little slow to update the website that the ISO is available. However, if you start looking through like the repositories, you can find a Debian 12 ISO.
Well, okay, yeah, I know that. What I'm saying is that they're changing the website so that download button actually links to, and they're including the non-free stuff in the ISO now. So that's going to
the way it works is it will not enable the non-free unless it detects you need them.
That's fine. That's perfectly okay. Really, the whole point I always made when it comes to the non-free stuff for Debian is it just needs to work in the live environment or work through the installer. You know what I mean? That's literally all it needs to do, so that you can't. If your installer won't launch because it doesn't have the proper drivers, then it's not a proper installer. And the thing about Debian always has been is that there are always things. It is very hard to find anybody who's running hardware that is completely compatible with all non-free drivers. And forget about GPUs. Just the Wi-Fi cards in most laptops will not run with non-free drivers. It's just the way it works.
Even modern CPUs, they require microcode.
This chip I'm holding in my hand right here might be the Wi-Fi card that I had to pull out of the ThinkPad to get this to actually have working Wi-Fi support.
See, exactly what I'm talking about. So,
yeah.
And that's not that, guys. That is the Linux problem. Right, that has been a Linux problem since 1991. Okay, it's just been the way thing, and Debian is.
A lot of times, it's not even a Linux problem, and it's an even more upstream problem.
It's an upstream Libre problem.
All right. Anyways, we got distracted there for again. Anyways, the Crunchbang plus, it's basically Debian, and there's nothing wrong with it. But if they've basically taken Debian, put OpenBox on it, the weird thing I found was that some of the changes that they did make. So they did make some changes to the installer. They added the logo, but left the Debian logo for some reason. Not sure why. So they had both logos, but also they removed. There was a couple pages that they moved. So like in the Debian installer, there's a page to set the root password. There's not there's not a page in the Crunchbang plus installer to set the root password. It just takes you to the user creation page. Not sure why they. That page always does confuse a lot of people because you're supposed to leave it blank if you want your user to have sudo privileges. So maybe that's the reason why they removed it. But that's just one of the small changes that they did make. They did change they added a grub wallpaper for Crunchbang plus, but left all the names as Debian. So it looks like you're booting into Debian. They've actually and we know why they didn't change the neofetch because it would just overwrite it. And then they changed, the reason why Josh had a problem knowing that the terminal was Terminator is because when you do a neofetch, it called it X emulator terminal or something.
Doesn't know.
The configuration in Terminator is set so that Terminator will identify as Xterm. And that's purely for SSH connections, because SSH connections, if the server you're remoting into does not know what your terminal is, it will completely screw up things like htop.
Well, isn't it also for some of the URXVT compatibility, feature compatibility?
So that was something that Terminator did, not Crunchbang plus. I'm positive.
That's just Terminator.
I'm positive I've seen Terminator say Terminator in neofetch before by default, though.
No, it's how it's configured, and it's that's how you're supposed to set up. Well, not necessarily a terminal, but anything that's going to be SSH'd into. That's how you should set it up. So
yeah, it's literally just for compatibility.
So Tyler, your thoughts on this?
I used it when I used Crunchbang when there was no plus. The plus is the follow up, keep the project alive, series. I used Crunchbang back when it just was Crunchbang, and I loved it because I went from just straight Ubuntu to Crunchbang, and loved it. It was really nice. I never used a really hyper configurable, I guess it's not really a desktop environment. It's just a pre-configured window manager with a whole bunch of tools, but I mean, it is kind of a desktop environment. So I'd never used anything that was that configurable before, and I really liked it. I used it for a long time, and it was nice to be able to go back and use it again. It was very nostalgic. I had a lot of hardware issues just because it's Debian, and Debian does not like super new hardware. Also had some issues because scaling on high DPI screens is not a great idea with X in general. So, but I mean, it worked and I enjoyed it. I had a great time. I got a whole bunch of people on Discord to use it too. Most people said it was fine. It's not what they prefer, which I mean makes sense because it is truly a look into the past of how how a good open box setup would have looked 10 years ago. And I mean
that's basically what I said.
You can definitely use it today, but I don't think it's what most people would want. And also OpenBox is not something that I would recommend people to start trying to learn to configure, because pretty much nothing else is configured like OpenBox.
No, so, I can't think of anything else that's configured in XML.
It really, if you're wanting to run something like OpenBox, there's actually a couple other window managers that actually are configured in XML. A lot of them are not current. There's actually a Wayland compositor that's configured in XML. That's LabWC. There's also Waybox, but that one's also been.
You guys ever get the feeling that Josh just makes stuff up because the rest of us don't know any better?
No.
He would never do that, right?
I truly believe he knows this stuff. The only sad part is like it makes me question how much sleep I get. I'm like now, like I guess I don't need 7-8 hours of sleep every once in a while.
Okay. So open box, black box, which yes, you can configure black box with XML. Let's see, LabWC, which I mentioned. And then there's another one from like way back in the day, not Fluxbox. I'm thinking maybe Window Maker. Back when it actually used a configuration file, used XML.
I don't think it was that one, but I know DT checked it out in his series. Like there was another one that did it with XML, but
yeah,
that's been a long time ago.
Yeah, I can't remember all of them off the top of my head. That's why I'm currently working through Window Manager project, where by the end of that project, we will have reviewed every single Window Manager that anybody can find. If you guys see a video on my channel that's titled the Window Manager project, and you know of a Window Manager I haven't covered yet, put it in the comments of that video, because for one thing, that's engagement, gives me, and that makes the YouTube algorithm love me. Which, by the way, hit subscribe and hit subscribe while you're here on this channel and on my channel. Ignore the other guys; they don't count.
Yeah. I mean, I hardly post, so I don't take.
Wait. Hold on a second here. Matt. I'm not sure the audience knows how to find us.
I don't know how to find us either. I'm not ready for the contact information yet.
Okay.
It was a nice transition, but you got to warn a fella.
Oh, you're welcome.
Actually, before we jump into the any idea, so there's a couple things that I didn't like. Okay, I wanted to talk about these. So first of all, in your home directory inside Crunchbang, they have some weird folders. Temp and bin are both not hidden folders here. They're plain sight. Also, they have ones called backup. And what will bother me most of this is that they didn't capitalize any of the words.
Yes.
I'm just so
that one fucked with me too.
I'm so used to seeing those all being capitalized. Also, if you were to use this and you had any like scripts or whatever that dealt with the pictures folder, they don't call it pictures, they call it images. The fuck? Like, don't do this to me. No, that can't. That's not, by the way, a Debian thing. Debian uses the proper Xorg or XDG stuff. So XDG DIRs. So I don't really understand why they made those choices. It's really those things just really. I'm sitting here staring at them like that's not proper.
Do you know why?
I'm sure Josh is about to explain it to me.
Yep.
Because this is how people used to set this stuff up 10 years ago. That's really why.
Well, that's idiotic. Well,
yeah. Basically, what they did here is they actually changed all the variables. As you might see here, the wallpaper that is this gray screen that you're staring at is actually a symlinked. And then there's some templates in here for some scripts and stuff like that, whatever. But anyways, the reason why they're doing it like this is because this is how people 10 years ago used to configure their home directory, because they didn't want to hit that capital letter when they wanted to CD into something. That's really it.
It's just it's driving my OCD nuts.
Well, thankfully you can change that, or you can just run like xcd dg user ders update. Just run that. Which, by the way, obviously it didn't work this time around.
That was the most anticlimactic thing ever. You're like, and shit, whoops.
Yep.
Yeah. So
Never
apparently it
mind.
doesn't work.
By the way, if you guys are curious as to why my screen looks bad, it's because Matt is capturing because I'm not using a screen share in Discord. How Matt captures this window is that we're in a 4-person panel, and he just zooms in on it.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, because I'm not doing a screen share because because I control Discord using WebSockets.
Also, I couldn't use the web share anyways because I have all the transforms the way they're supposed to be. So, anyways, before we jump into Steve and talking a little bit about why he doesn't like Window Manager and the rest of us trying to convince him to try something that is good, which we will do here in just a minute, let's talk about contact information. If you want to get in contact with us, you can do so in any number of ways. The best way is to head on over to the website, which is thelinuxcast.org. There you'll find previous episodes along with a whole bunch of blog posts and other stuff. And it's an awesome website, if I do say so myself. I put a lot of work into it. Actually, I didn't. I didn't put any work into it at all.
J-Dog, more work into your website than my website, to be honest with you.
J-Dog did all the work, okay? He's awesome. So, anyways, you can head on over there, check out the website where you'll find all that stuff. You can follow Steve. He's on YouTube. He is, I'm doing this all without anything in front of me, by the way, youtube.com/0G, yeah, I think so. Zero Linux. The problem is he uses a different damn name on every single platform. It drives me, and I can't remember. You have so many names. Anyways, at Zero Linux with a X, not a Z. You can also find all of his other stuff. I'll give that link here in a minute. Josh is at tenleyj.com/stalker. Tyler has a YouTube channel. He doesn't know how to use it. youtube.com/ZanyOG is his URL to go over there. Subscribe to him. The funniest story, I just want to tell this, is that he got a shout out from Mental Outlaw about OpenBSD about a week after he stopped using OpenBSD.
Yeah, that one killed me. Like, that one was just like, it was the worst timing because I got hit with a wave of people like, oh, dude, I'm installing OpenBSD. I could use your help. So I'm like, oh, shit.
I don't actually use.
He called you a hacker and everything, man.
Dude, like, no, I got so many people asking me for help, and I'm like, dude, I don't. Like, I mean, I used it. It's good, but like, I'm back to using Linux now.
I mean, could be worse. You could be RootBSD, who doesn't even post on YouTube anymore.
Well, I mean, I've pretty much gone the RootBSD route. I barely post.
So. That's true.
Anyways, you can email us at email@thelinuxcast.org. You can find all of this contact information at thelinuxcast.org/contact. Where there you'll find links to all of our shiz, all of our stuff. And it's all wonderful. You should click on all the links. Follow all of us. I'm on Mastodon. I'm on Odyssey. I got a PeerTube instance that's not mine, obviously, but I post most recent videos there, TIL vids, so you can, if you want to deal with the YouTube nonsense, you can go to those places and subscribe, or you can just hit the subscribe button right here on YouTube. It's the big red gigantic honking button right below all of our faces. Hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button if you haven't already, even though this is probably our worst podcast ever. I'm just pointing that out there.
What do you mean it's our worst?
The best. It's the best, actually. I'm having fun.
I heard that the audience loves Tangent Cast.
Well, we just had no plan for how we were going to do this, and we just jumped in.
Yeah,
which is
that's the most natural thing about it. I love it.
Look, okay. I've been gone for a while. I'm just excited to come in here and chill with the boys. You know,
all right.
It's a good time.
The boys.
We're gonna hear now from Steve, the most anti-Window Manager person on the planet. So, Steve, without a frilly accent, please, which you tell us why you don't like Window Manager. I'm very interested because, first of all, I was very rude. Before you jump in, I want to apologize because I was rude to you by telling you that you should like Window Managers and trying to force you into it.
No, it is all okay. It is all okay. It's all okay.
He can't not do the accent.
He can't not do the accent.
Okay. Maybe what we hear normally is his accent, and that's actually his real voice.
He's just
it's true. That is true.
Dude, has he been psyoping us this entire time?
It's entirely possible. For all you know, he might just speak perfect Serbian.
Fizi babalech. Fizi babalech.
Oh my god. I was right.
Dude, I totally understood that, man. I totally got that.
You don't know the Zohan?
Oh, dude. Oh, come on now. That famous hairdresser? Come on, man. Everyone knows the Zohan. Come on now.
Well, anyways,
I've
Steve.
lost complete control.
Steve, okay. You have some very choice words for this distro. So let's hear them.
It is very nice. It is very good.
Now tell us what you really think.
And don't lie to your friends. Give us your real opinion.
You want the truth? Okay, I tell you the truth. The truth is, window managers suck. They can go rot in hell, and I want to see them or use them again. You cannot pry any desktop environment out of my dead cold hands by window managers. I'll be happy to go throw in hell and the bottomless pit of hell. On a serious note, it was a good distro. It's just I'm not comfortable with window managers. I did dig into it. Did install it on. I'm doing the Josh thing right now. Did install it on an SSD on bare metal because I wanted to go all in, not knowing it was a window manager. Well, the guys here told me Crunchbang ++ is good. You should try.
Yes.
I booted it up. The installer was your usual Debian installer, and like Matt said, kept they had their logo and the Debian logo. Confusion. No root, no whatever. I'm like, it failed 7 times to install Grub for some whatever reason, because maybe there is Windows on another drive. Maybe. But when I finally got it to install, I did select the XFS file system because XFS me equal. So got to the desktop and I got greeted with this wonderful little terminal window. Do you want to install this? Do you want to install that? Do you want to install this? Do you want to install that? I reached a point where it started talking about server things. I was like, yes, until it was done.
You just said yes to everything?
Yeah. So I was like, I don't know window manager, so might as well act like a total Linux noob. So let's do this.
Okay, that first of all, that welcome screen is not a window manager thing. That's all Crunchbang ++.
No, I'm not saying it's a window manager thing. There are desktop environments with that, aka Garuda, but with GUIs rather than a terminal. But the thing of it is, I loved its simplicity and how quick it was. It was flying. It was like I installed Windows 98 on modern hardware.
Okay, wait, hold on. You do have to give it even more credit for it being fast, because this man installed the Apache web server and all the stuff in the back end.
He's got LAMP going on in the background.
It is nice that it allows you to install a LAMP stack for whatever reason you would have for a LAMP stack on your desktop system.
Yeah.
Don't know what LAMP stack is. Don't know what Apache is. I don't know. Apache Indians? It installed Apache Indians? Boo, 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 boo.
Okay. Let's see if
they're so getting canceled, by the way.
Let's see. We got Apache mail server, PHP. I forget what L stands for.
There is only male server, no female server?
Dude, I know. It's kind of messed up like that. I agree.
I mean,
Emacs has a package called Woo Man.
Okay, good. So, besides all that, I was talking to Josh, and I was like, how do you do this? How do you do that? How do you do this? How do you do that? I was looking for, literally, I didn't know it was a window manager. I was going into it expecting it to be a desktop environment of some sort. I started looking for an app menu. I started looking for latte dock-like dock. I started looking for desktop environment kind of things, like how do you open the file manager? How do you do this?
He would have been much better off if Conky was set to auto start. Like
it was there on the desktop. I could see, but who in their right mind puts dark gray on light gray text?
True.
Dude, I love that color scheme back in the... All right, wait, hold on. You do have to understand, back in the day, our screens were not nearly as high resolution as they are now.
Wait. I was coming to that.
That actually makes it worse, by the way. I'm just saying. That color scheme makes it worse.
I was getting to that.
Damn it.
That was not very smart. I need my thick glasses to read the text. What is this? I was like, you put dark gray on light gray and the scaling is out of whack?
Yeah.
Oh, mamma mia, madre de Dios. Then
This is a very valid argument. I like it.
Started wanting to install something called Flatpak. Then it tell me no Flatpak.
Wait, is Flatpak not supported?
You guys gotta remember,
it's not out of the box.
It's Bullseye, and Bullseye at this point doesn't have a Flatpak that really works. Josh told us about that like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
Don't you guys listen to Josh? He's the teacher here. You guys got to listen to him, man.
To be honest, I thought he was talking about his Fedora stuff. I thought he was talking about his silver blue crap. So, like, oh, they broke Flatpak like on Fedora. That's nice.
So I installed Flatpak, and it tell me no Flatpak in the pass.
Yeah, that happens.
That's to Wizard of Oz. Where?
Yeah. Because of the version of Flatpak that Debbie and Bullseye is shipping, that's the version of Flatpak where after you install it, you actually have to reboot the system. Then it'll work.
You have to reboot the system and add to pass. You have to add first.
There's a lot of distributions that don't come with Flatpak out of the box that you have to add the things to path.
And you have to add the repo. You have to add the repo, not only install the package. But then I started installing my packages from FlatHub, and then I could not see some packages in the right-click app potato, ketchup, and thingy majiggy you call a menu in the right click. So I could not find anything. Install, spend 2 hours installing, and then I get what? Nothing in the menu, app menu. I call app menu. It's not up, it's in the right click. But okay, we say okay, fine, no apps. Then I say, ask Josh, what is this? Oh, it's OpenBox Window Manager. As soon as he said that hard disk was taken out of the system and thrown on the desk.
Yeah, see, if you'd given it more of a try, I think you put it. But I think that what I said before is that this is a bad representation for someone to start off on a window manager. It's not intuitive. It's not well.
Don't give me no window manager, no matter how easy it is, because I don't like to deal with something called configuration files.
I'm telling you, man.
You do it all the time. Make your own distro, man.
This guy publishes his own Arch-based distribution.
But I don't deal with code. I do drag drop, copy paste.
Something. Somebody wrote a bash script to install your distro for you.
Somebody else did, not me.
You should. I'm going to come up with a challenge for Steve. I want him to use Archcraft, like actually use the Archcraft OpenBox implementation.
I did.
You never have.
Aldi gave it to me. He told me, and we worked together on Calamares. What is this? You think I don't know about Archcraft? Archcraft is one of my favorite. It's one of my favorite.
It uses OpenBox.
One of my favorite to look at, not to use.
Oh, okay. It actually even has a dock. I mean, just for Steve.
Oh, that I like. And he uses latte. He used to use latte, but now he switched because he said latte person leave project. So I switch. I use normal dock Planko, whatever it is. Jump.
So Planko. I think we're going to end up having a rule where we're gonna have limits on the amount of Diablo 4 one's allowed to take in before they come to a podcast.
This is not related to Diablo 4. I am.
Hold on. If we have to have a rule like that, we have to make a rule about 0 AD before podcast day.
And you know what, Josh? I think we should, because y'all delinquents had me up all freaking night playing 0 AD.
Hey man. I was excited to have somebody to talk to at 5 a.m.
Okay,
I wasn't.
On a serious note, I just want to say that I really like the way this distro brings nostalgia to the table. It's just I've had a lot of because the first thing I tried to do is I need to install my NVIDIA drivers, and I'm like, it's Debian. Okay, here we go, and that predates the non-free ISOs available in Bookworm today. I'm like, what is one to do? Then I thought to myself, why waste time? I need to work on Zero Linux. Only reason I didn't give it a lot of time is because I had the Wayland script to write, because people were on my ass about this. and I really appreciate that they were on my ass. Without them, Zero Linux wouldn't be what it is today. It's because I need to be pushed and how should I say? Threatened at some point in a good way, not in a bad way. But I finally did write the script, and Jesse, my co-host on my podcast, just confirmed that my script works for Wayland because he has single monitor. But for multiple monitors, it's impossible. Unfortunately, it's an entire mess on its own. When it comes to Wayland, but my script works flawless, might I add. Yeah, I had to spend time on these things, so I didn't have really much time to spend on Crunchbang and crack my skull against it. I'm not saying window managers really suck. There are beautiful window managers, as we have a fanboy over here that can prove it. Hyperland is one of the best, if not the best, Wayland window managers compositors out there. And I do agree because I saw someone on Matt's server, Discord server, showing off rainbow animation on all his windows. I'm like, I'll turn that into blue and purple, but otherwise, I love that. Just waiting for a desktop environment that has all that and is super Wayland compatible. That Josh before the podcast told us that it might be coming. If it comes, forget Zero Linux KDE spin, KDE flagship. That'll be the flagship.
So, something animated window borders. Somebody wants them.
Hold on, that's kind of the messed up part, like about Hyperland in general. And this goes back to what we were talking about before about just Josh having like knowledge that just he shouldn't have, like he has just for absolutely no reason.
He's
like,
from the NSA, I'm pretty sure.
Using Hyperland at the time, and he was like looking, like I was sharing my desktop. He was like, "Dude, don't you want animated borders? Like, you know that's a thing you could just do." And he showed me how to add it to my config. He didn't even use it at the time. He was just like, you know.
Like, yeah, but when I saw it on Matt's server, I was like, dude, the first desktop environment who uses that, I'm switching to.
Zany, the only reason I knew about the animated borders was because literally the night before, I spent like 3.5 hours figuring out what the heck a Bezier curve was. That way I could set that up.
But I swear to you guys, the first desktop environment that comes with the Wayland stuff, with the Hyperland stuff, throwing KDE out the window, I'm switching to that because that is boner guaranteed kind of desktop.
It's awesome. Like I got to be honest, Hyperland alone is really awesome. But like, if you just nested it and like pre-packaged it with a pre-configured bar, pre-configured like notification system, you know, just like a few nice bits and bobs, like an optional dock that you can turn on.
Like a Hyperland version of like Regolith or something. That's what you're talking about.
Like, I'm thinking more along the lines the Qt based stuff environment with Hyperland stuff in it.
I don't know.
Because like Qt are way more customizable than GTK. Which brings me to something, and I know it's a small tangent, but I feel
at this point, who cares?
I feel it needs to be said because I love and respect, and I'm showing true love to the GNOME developers because they did something in GNOME 44.2 that I never thought possible. GNOME 44.2 specifically this version, they pushed the update online. I know the Arch maintainer does not push everything online when it comes to GNOME. That's another story. But performance on GNOME 42 just took it spiked up to infinity.
What they do?
They enabled the hardware acceleration.
Enabled hardware. Well, that's a given.
Wait, hold on.
Full shell hardware acceleration.
Yes.
Why was it not enabled already?
Reasons.
Because It's actually largely legacy reasons. Basically, a lot of technical debt was put into it, and they were still working on porting the GNOME shell session itself to GTK4. So prior to GNOME 44.2, the shell itself, basically like the top panel and then like the overview window and all that, that was still GTK3. That was not GTK4 yet. But now it's GTK4.
It's hardware
See,
accelerated.
this is what I'm talking about. He just has knowledge that he should not have.
So basically, once they unlock the hardware acceleration, because when I have zero G on this SSD that I switched to, I put it on this one because it says V for victory. But I moved my mouse. I was like, whoa! My mouse jumped from here to there in a blink of an eye. Whereas before, I had to do at least two. I have a trackball. I had to do D for it to move twice. Now once and it jumps, and I was like, and the animation is so smooth.
Yep.
Today I enabled Wayland via my script because my script works for KDE and GNOME. Did enabled Wayland on GNOME. Most wonderful experience I've ever had on something I have until today been calling not ready yet, not ready yet, not ready yet. Well, on GNOME, the daily driver.
Even on Hyperland, if you would finally give Hyperland a chance with
it's a
the
window
NVIDIA
manager,
patches,
it's not something I would use.
It's not a window manager; it's a compositor.
Well,
and yes, there is a difference.
So I enjoyed GNOME, but for the love of God, when a user comes, mentions Twitter or on social media that, hey, this is my Unix born screenshot of GNOME, modified GNOME, made it look beautiful. And one GTK random GTK developer, not GNOME related, just a random GTK developer attacks that person for going as far as to theming GTK apps and GTK the GNOME shell and whatever. Attack that person, telling them they robbed them of their identity. Not the right way to go about it.
I think that's been. I think that's how we all know.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, don't let that stop you from using something that works. Like, I was going to quit using GNOME because that person attacked me.
Well, this is something that I think we all have acknowledged. Like, just
okay, I'm new to this kind of behavior.
There is a segment of the GNOME community, whether they be maintainers or not, or like people that happen to develop GNOME themed applications, that absolutely think that you should never theme anything because GNOME. There was a blog post from a GNOME developer that said themes are inherently broken and don't use
my
themes.
app. Don't theme my app.
Obviously, none of them actually read the Don't Theme My App website. The Don't Theme My App website, which, by the way, Matt, if you can pull it up for us and look at this beautiful website, it is a work of art. But anyways, if we look at this website, it clearly says distribution maintainers and distribution developers don't theme my app. It does not say anything about users.
Exactly.
Users are perfectly fine to theme GNOME.
Yeah, but I wasn't, and the thing that I explained to that random GTK person was like, you look at 0G, it does not theme any app. It does not use any themes. It's liquid white or dark. And in my video, I did not mention to users, hey, users, go theme your apps, your GNOME apps or your GNOME. I said, if you are going to use, to apply themes to libadwaita and GTK4 apps on GNOME, you're free to do so. This is how you do it correctly. That's all I did in my video. And get slam-basted by this random 2-follower, 3-follower GTK developer. I didn't let that stop me from using GNOME. I'm using GNOME, and the best experience I ever had on a desktop environment better than KDE, and I will swear by it. Even though I am a KDE shill, Nicolo, I will forever root for KDE, but we need to be realistic here, and we need to touch grass and acknowledge that because GNOME follow the Unix philosophy of do one thing and do it good, that's why their desktop environment works. KDE, they're doing a lot of things everywhere, so it's normal for instability to creep up in the desktop environment. I'm not saying they're doing a bad job. I'm just saying that so spread
I
out.
I think it's inherent differences in their design. Like GNOME, it's just about GNOME is literally just about GTK and the desktop,
and they're doing it good. And I can say for a fact, because I talked to a lot of theme developers. I went into this rabbit hole. I talked to Oliver Lara, the creator of Dracula, Catpuccine, and those Sweet, and all those famous themes. Were like, we bypass limitations because we believe in the freedom of a user being able to use and to customize their desktop environment or window manager the way they heart desires. There should not be limitations. If people want limitations, they should go to Apple or Windows. So I agree with them to a certain degree, but not totally. Because when it comes to GNOME, it was not meant to be completely customized and messed with, because I'm using it as is with libadwaita dark. I'm not theming it, and I haven't touched it. Not a single issue. I have a VM. I used Leyen Dark from Vinceluce. The system is not behaving correctly. There's a lot of delay. There's a lot of skip frames because there are layers. Because what are themes? The themes are layers on top of the actual original layer. Replacements. It's CSS replacement, SCSS replacements. That's where I know SCSS from, because the new libadwaita, it uses SCSS.
Well, the new GTK, it's not just redrawn over a layer. It actually replaces it. It replaces the base color. But
it intercepts the call, and then it
intercepts the call. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. It intercepts the call. That's why they symlink the assets folder instead of using the original one. They replace the original one with a symlink, goes to their version that replaces the original one. So that's what theme developers need to do to theme libadwaita apps, but not everyone. Here's another thing. I was told by one of the theme developers, asked him, why didn't you update your theme? He was like, will only support up to GTK3. I will not touch libadwaita with a 10-foot pole.
Well, there's a lot of GTK developers that don't want to do it because it's much more difficult.
Not only much more difficult, they don't want to deal with the GNOME developers.
Well, there's a reason why Pop! OS and the Budgie developers are leaving GTK behind.
Yes,
because if the way GTK is going is the way GTK wants to go, and if you don't want to go that direction, then you shouldn't use it. There are obviously other options, but a lot of you notice none of them are choosing Qt because Qt has its own problems. So.
Qt is it's in a league of its own. It's not something, and I don't like to criticize Qt because I use Qt on KDE, but they're getting better. KDE is getting less and less buggy, but not at the pace of GNOME. They need longer period to get to, if they ever get to the stability of GNOME.
I want to tell a small story. So I made that video about the new tiling that is in Plasma. And I was very, very critical of it because it just feels blatantly unfinished, right? And I just called it bad. That's what I called it. I said it was bad. And the number of people in the comment section that said, "Oh, this is just beta. This is their first try. This is beta software," and it just struck me as completely it made me just pause for a minute because 5.27 is an LTS version of Plasma. So those people who are telling me that this feature is a beta piece of software in an LTS, just try like what? What?
Did you see Nicolo's reply to you?
No,
Nicolo, he replied to me, and because I replied to Matt, saying that it's advancing too fast and they're taking too many things under their wings, causing a little bit of instability, and then and it takes I said it something along the lines, it takes them forever to fix. Then Nicolo, the developer behind the latte panel and the tiling, part of the tiling and other things that he's working on for QT6, he comes at us. He was like, "I don't like to hear such bullshit. It's disrespectful."
Oh, you're talking about that thread on Mastodon. Yeah, I completely ignored the stuff on Mastodon. I'm talking about mostly in the YouTube comments, because I was so very surprised at the response to that video.
Comments, his response was good, but on Mastodon it was different.
Yeah. Anyways,
disrespectful, like, bro, but it's true. Like,
it's critical. It's a constructive criticism.
Exactly.
He saw it as disrespectful. I was like, dude. What? This is KDE we're talking about. You're one of the developers. You should know how. But then I remembered one thing. I remembered that he's one of the developers and he uses Debian. He doesn't touch Arch. There is a discrepancy here because Arch is one thing and Debian is another. Arch ships different dependencies for some packages, whereas he has full control over all the dependencies on KDE Neon because it's the mothership for KDE.
That's no. It's still what now? That's not an argument.
I've always
there's still way too many bugs and all of these new features.
The thing is like we say that KDE has a ton of bugs, and it's true, but they can't help it. You can't add that many features and then not have a whole bunch of bugs. It's just the nature of
the difference between GNOME and KDE is very simple. Open, closed.
Yeah.
Simple. Opinionated, closed, open arms. We accept everything and anything with open arms.
Mm-hmm.
So this is my argument. Why do you think people use Apple so much? Mac OS and Apple. That's why Apple makes money, because more people use Apple laptops than normal laptops. Why? Because it does what it's supposed to do. It's boring for us tinkerers, yes.
The market share wouldn't really agree with you that more people use Apple laptops than Windows laptops.
Yeah.
the more people who just want things done use Apple devices. People, tinkerers like us, we are growing in numbers.
That's not true. No. Apple is mainly used by audio engineers, and then people who don't know any better and go in for video.
Have no problem.
So I was in Dubai. In Dubai, there was not a single soul that didn't have a MacBook.
Josh, that's only because MacBooks are status symbols.
So there's realistically.
Go ahead, Josh.
There's realistically 3 people that use Apple devices. One is the person that wants to buy a $2,000 Facebook machine because they hear Apple products are good.
Yes.
Yeah, the other one is the developer that doesn't realize that Linux is a thing that people actually use. The third thing is a media content creator who thinks that they have to use Apple because the only tools that they ever learned were from Apple products.
I mean, I'm sure there's
audio engineers and like sound producers,
let's
people like that.
There are people who legitimately like Apple, and that's fine. So we don't want to discount the people who actually like to use Apple and Mac OS and stuff like that.
Apple and Mac OS, I'll tell you,
the vast majority of people, guys, buy a $300 or $400 laptop from Best Buy. It runs Windows. Okay.
That said, the Apple for like content creation or media creation in general, they have historically always had an amazing audio stack. And that's why it's so popular in media. That said, I think that Linux with Pipewire is going to catch up to them eventually.
Eventually, but it won't be fast. because
No, it
won't be
Pipewire
fast.
is
Yeah.
not able to compete right now.
No.
Like,
Not yet.
trust me when I say my buddy about killed me when I tried to get him to sit down and use Pipewire, Wire Plumber, and like a patch bay. I wasn't using the same patch bay program you use, but like I can't even remember what it was called. But like,
so
I was like,
QPW
all right,
graph.
The back end for
my
audio
God.
on Linux may catch up, but it's not going to get anywhere near where Apple is until the software comes around with it.
Well,
Some of the DAWs and stuff that people use and stuff like that only work on Mac OS. Just, you're gonna have to have some of that stuff on Linux. It's just, and right now it's just not there. There are some DAWs on Linux. Don't get me wrong, but a lot of the things that people really truly rely on, just aren't on Linux.
Guess what?
It's the Adobe
Apple
problem.
Now Apple is working on their own version of Proton, announced in WWDC 23.
Yeah, but the only problem though is I can guarantee you one thing: their version is not just going to be compatible. Like it won't just be like Proton, and developers will have to be involved.
Now, as somebody that watched WWDC and paid some attention to it,
It sucked ass.
Apple's version of Proton is just for testing. It is not for actual production use. So no,
Not yet. Not yet.
Apple, no, they straight up advertised it as a dev tool for helping you port your application to macOS. That's what they said. That's how they advertise it. That is 100% of their sales.
And then they literally proceed to get Yoshi Yokohama or whatever his name is
To talk about it,
from the Last of Us to talk about it. So I think something bigger at play here.
No, it's literally just for porting over application. Like you'll have to
porting
as a
applications
developer,
and games.
Well, no, we're definitely talking about games.
Proton works on Mac OS already, if I'm not mistaken. Steam's version of Proton works on Mac OS. I mean,
Yes,
it
does.
So I mean, it's not as if there's anything new. I mean, this is just them trying to get more native games on Mac OS.
Yeah. The only problem is
Macs have been super powerful gaming machines.
No. See, here's the problem. I know game developers, and no game developer wants to port over to Mac for the same reason they don't want to port over to Linux. Like the user volume is so low that if they do port it out, all right, this is so true with Linux or Mac. Every game developer who's ever supported those platforms will tell you, as soon as they switch over to them, they're the smallest portion of their player base, yet they report the most tickets out of the entire player base.
Okay, so that's not okay. So I have a comment about that. There's not the reason why that's true is because Linux users are much more likely to report a bug than a Windows user is. It's just because we're so used to doing so. You know,
but it's also the same with Mac. Mac's the same way.
Yeah, I think porting a game to Mac is so rare. I mean, it happens actually more often on Linux than it does on Mac. That's just the impression that I get. The 3 versus 1 Apple hate cast. I don't hate Apple. I like Apple just fine. I wouldn't use a Mac. That's just because the hardware is so expensive. I don't want to spend $3,000 on a.
Why do you think I have a MacBook? Because I got it for $200.
Like I lust after. The only reason I lust after the Mac Studio. I want one of those things. I've always wanted a Mac Pro. Like back in the day, like I was in love with the trash can Mac Pro. I wanted one desperately.
Ooh, you saw the red one that got sold for $1 million?
I just could never afford it. It's just too expensive. So that's my thoughts on Mac. So here's the last thing I want to say about the conversation we just had. The whole VR thing that Apple just announced. I'm very interested.
Please don't get there. Don't get there. I'm going to yell and scream at you.
Don't. If you yell and scream at me,
he's going to yell and scream at me because I'm not convinced that's going to be a game changer whatsoever.
Oh, it's not going to be a game changer. It's going to be it's my what I just wanted. If you guys would have just let me finish, I would have just asked, when do you guys think Mozilla's going to make one? That's all I was going to say. Because Mozilla does anything that they think is going to create the next big splash, AI, metaverse. You know, they have to create their own version of it.
Yes, that is true. But the Apple, the Apple thing is just it's a step, one more step towards the Matrix.
I fully believe if Mozilla announces a VR headset, I fully believe that we as a community can come together and full on siege their headquarters and let's raid their headquarters. This is unacceptable.
I think
if they make a VR headset and waste Google's money on another craptastic product, I swear we're going to take them down.
Mozilla in general has a horrible history with hardware.
Well, no, I don't think that's why I don't think it would be a hardware. I think they would.
Wasn't there a Mozilla phone at some point?
Yeah, there was. I think instead it would be them creating like a virtual OS. Like it'd be the OS that they'd want other people to use on their hardware. I think that's more likely the way that it would go.
There was a Mozilla OS as well on the Mozilla phone.
Yeah, yes, Firefox OS was a thing.
Firefox OS.
Yeah, it was. It was not good. Okay, it was not good.
Terrible.
It's weird from a company that actually makes software that they thought that bringing that out to market was a good idea. And
in fact, the old website is still around. FirefoxOSDevices.org. I just checked; it's still alive.
I can't believe they still own the URL. Honestly,
I don't know if they still own the URL, but the website's still up.
For the win.
Okay, can we all agree that it's actually upsetting that they're wasting? Like it feels like. Watching Mozilla and their projects, it feels like watching a company that you once loved be taken over by the mafia and just blow their money on like essentially the tech equivalent of like hookers, like in drugs. What are they doing?
Honestly, Firefox OS and the Firefox phone, I still think was ultimately a good idea. I do think that it was a good idea. It's just that the way that they implemented it, of targeting, just those African markets where it's just like nobody's ever heard of or used a cell phone before. Just straight up was the wrong market to release into.
Well, the way their OS was, it was like Android easy mode.
Well, okay. So first of all, the U.S. market here is so hard to get into because of all the carrier nonsense. But where they should have, I don't know, guys, if you know this, but like the biggest market for Firefox is Brazil, right? If they released it in Brazil, they would have had a thing, because Firefox is huge there for whatever reason. I'm sure there is a reason.
The only reason they didn't ship to Brazil is because Brazil has some of the highest tariffs in the world for product imports. It's actually insane. Like, if you want to buy anything that's not made in Brazil, there's like a 130% markup in some markets. It's just crazy.
Guys, we're kind of like shooting off the topic here, because here's the thing: no matter what, their whole plan with the devices and everything was never going to function, because there was never a plan for how it made profit. Like, okay, so are you making money on the end product? No, or your margin is razor thin. So no profit there.
Same with Apple product.
What markets are you dumping this into? Impoverished markets, which is good to get them online and like possibly get them educated. Like that's good. That's a good thing. But again, no profit. So that doesn't for a business, that doesn't make sense.
I don't blame Firefox for this, because it is astonishingly hard for any third party to come out and create a phone with their own operating system that isn't Android, that isn't iOS. So Amazon tried, Facebook tried, Canonical tried, Microsoft tried, Firefox tried. Like literally, these are all major multi-billion-dollar corporations. All tried their own operating system, bringing out their own phone. I mean, hell, Microsoft bought Nokia, and they still couldn't make it work. And Nokia's been around since the 1800s.
Well, the thing is that was also a different age. I actually think that if somebody came out with like a third-party phone platform and it handled like voice calls and MMS,
that's expensive. All that is expensive. All that is expensive to run.
Doesn't MIMO still exist?
MIMO does still exist, but I think that if the Firefox phone was to actually come out today and actually ship on a reasonable device, like something maybe not like super awesome, like like my Samsung phone, but maybe something a little bit more powerful than like this Pine phone that I have. Like maybe like Pine Phone Pro Plus. Something with like reasonable phone hardware. It doesn't have to be like super high end or like super modern mid range.
Maybe try with the OnePlus like Cyanogen mod tried.
Yeah, something like that. If they would ship on a reasonable hardware platform, that of course it's something like that's probably not going to be like fully open source or completely Libre, but I think that a Firefox phone today could actually make valid sense, and people would actually buy it, because people these days are actually buying dumb phones again.
Yeah.
Especially in the market.
As somebody that has actually used Firefox OS, because somebody ported it to a Nexus 5, and guess who had a Nexus 5 at the time?
Oh God.
So I did use Firefox OS for a little bit. It was actually basically just dumb phone plus. It's basically just like glorified feature phone.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring something up since you're mentioning dumb phones. I watched a while ago, I think close to a year ago, where Chris Titus Tech tried to switch back to a dumb phone, and he's been on it until today, or until recently. Dumb phones today work, especially in impoverished markets like mine. Dumb phones make sense, and I think. And today, I'm gonna say something. I no longer want to travel anywhere. I want to stay in Lebanon. Why? Because of Apple's keynote. I saw how people are giving up their lives just for the sake of convenience. Over here, they would like to, but they can't, because the market is not the right one, and we have the current economical crash, the biggest in history, in our history.
I'm pretty much in agreement. We over here in the West, in the U.S., we're pretty sold out for convenience. I mean, I literally hate my iPhone, but I cannot, like, I couldn't go back to a different phone. Like, it's got too many freaking features. Also, like, here's how much of a slave I am to my convenience. Like, I've gotten to the point now where I'm so dumb, I cannot like not use the maps. I have to use the maps to go.
We become dependent. We become dependent for the sake of convenience. That WWDC opened my eyes.
The problem though is like, without this, I have to go back to like using like Open Maps or something like that, where I've got to download it, manage my stuff, and it's just like, I've definitely
you know what I did. You know what I did.
There's one shot. Sorry, Josh, but there's one shot that I saw in a video that I shared on Mastodon. There's one shot that got to me, and it got to me at the core. Got me at the core. It's a shot of Mark Zuckerberg walking down the aisle in a theater. Everyone was wearing his Oculus Quest or whatever on their face. Everybody was wearing it. It was like, hey, Wally, I remember you. I remember those big guys and women on those hovercrafts who didn't, because of gravity, didn't know that walking was a thing. They forgot that walking was a thing. So that flashed me back right there, and I was like, video opened my eyes, and WWDC even wider with this thing they call Apple, whatever they call it.
So, dude, no. See, the problem is with the Apple VR headset. I was like, oh, this could be a game changer. This is kind of wild. Everyone's going to have a VR headset. And then when they announced the price, I'm like, $3,500? Are you out of your freaking mind? Get out of here, bitch! Come on now.
The thing that got me about it was that they advertised watching a movie on it, and then came out with a battery pack that only lasts 2 hours.
Yeah.
like you do. Like, come on, man! I guess I'm not watching Lord of the Rings or Avatar. Avatar. Avatar's like 3 hours long, and that's the one that they advertised. You can even watch the whole thing on the battery pack.
I watched it recently, Avatar, but the thing that even got me even worse was when they showed the woman and they showed her spinning the digital crown on the thing.
Yes.
And it was shutting down the real world more and more and more. I didn't see it like a positive thing. I saw it as I'm losing touch with the real world more and more and more and more and more until I lose touch completely with the real world.
I'll be honest with you. I kind of want to watch. I kind of want to rewatch The Matrix after watching that keynote.
See, like that's kind of the problem with all of this like new VR shit. It's like it's cool, but at the same time, there's also this kind of like there's an undeniable existential threat to it at the same time.
Dystopian future. But that's.
Anyways, to rewind about the things that we used to do before we got smartphones. Just a few weeks ago, I went to an oldie but a goodie to find some directions. I went to the good old reliable MapQuest I printed out directions on how to get to a destination.
First of all, can we just pause and think for a minute that MapQuest is still online?
I didn't even know they were still paying for hosting.
Do you know how MapQuest is still alive?
No.
Well, who owns it now? It was owned by Yahoo there for a long time.
I think Yahoo still owns it, first of all. But the reason why MapQuest is still alive is because they are selling their map data to Google for Google Maps.
Oh,
makes sense.
I was totally expecting.
And at this point, the only reason they're still alive is because of the royalties. That's it.
Yeah, I had no clue because that was the thing to use back when GeoCities was a thing. Did you guys know that someone's bringing back GeoCities? I saw this, unless I made it up in my mind. Somebody was actually bringing it back. I don't know what it was.
Isn't MySpace still alive?
MySpace is still. It's a band thing now. It's for music. It's like Napster.
MySpace is where all of the cool kids are.
And it still looks like the way it looked when it shut down.
I actually don't think that it ever shut down. I think it was still around.
Speaking of GeoCities, I think the Internet Archive is the one you were talking about, Matt.
No, there was something came out like a new version that people could actually sign up and create new sites for. I saw it announced.
I think it's built by Google. It's called Google Spaces.
I mean, Google had an option for it.
I don't think that this was it. There's one called NeoCities, but I don't think that that's what I was thinking of.
Well, Google is shutting down yet another product. It's MyPages. I think it was called MyPages, where you could create websites and host them by Google. Now they're shutting that down. Send me a message because I am a member of. I'm a paid member of Google because I use the Gmail on my own domain. They keep bombarding me with. Do you want to migrate your MyPages data? Do you want to migrate your I have no MyPage data. I never built a website on that thing. Why are you sending me a message?
MySpace is a free music or a music platform now. It's no longer a social media network.
Yeah, it's just
what am I going to do? How am I going to meet all my cool friends?
It's just music. You guys remember Foursquare?
It's NeoCities. Thanks, chat.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that might be the one that I was thinking of, but it doesn't matter. Guys, let's go ahead and this is like a Tyler, didn't we do a topic last year right before Christmas where we had no topic at all? All we did was sit and bullshit for like 2 hours. That's basically this episode.
I mean, if it helps any, that basically is like the review of Crunchbang plus from all of us, where it's just like, it's just Debian with OpenBox. I'm like, there's really nothing unique here.
And Matt, and I was serious when I told you I am on Debian, but I am on Bullseye, not Bullseye. I am on sort of a
Bookworm?
Debian. No, Bookworm not yet. I'm waiting
Or
for
excuse
the
me, as Josh would say, bookworm.
The book
but
website still hasn't been updated, by the way. It's still 11.
Yeah, it's still 11.7. But I'm on a Debian distro. I'm not going to tell you which one it is because I'm getting off of it as
It's
soon as
Spiral Linux.
I've used Spiral before. It's not bad.
No, but I'm gonna get off of it as soon as possible because I'm talking to you guys without NVIDIA drivers.
Speaking of getting off of things as soon as possible, right after this stream, there's going to be an emergency episode of distro hacking because I forgot what day it was yesterday.
That should be fun to watch. All right, guys, let's go ahead and move on to the thingies of the week. So, Josh, why don't you go ahead and go first?
Okay, well, obviously, because picks of the week or apps of the week are trademarked, we call these things thingies of the week because we can't think of anything.
I didn't do the bit because I wanted to get us out of here by 5:00.
Oh, you're welcome. But anyways, my thingy is the world's most exciting thing ever because speaking of a blast from the past, guys, I present to you Newsflash. It's an RSS reader, and you can see that I've already got some article updates. But why am I talking about Newsflash? Because Newsflash has this wonderful thing that not a whole lot of RSS readers seem to do, and that is native and actually working Nextcloud sync, which means, and because I self-host my own Nextcloud instance, which by the way, the three of you full access to it. By the way, make my $10 a month justified more, please. But anyways, It is proper working sync the way that I actually want it to work. Like it not only syncs like the article downloads, but it syncs the position that I last left the article in. It syncs the read status of the article. Not only from Newsflash,
I have a question
also,
for you about this, Josh. Does it format the posts correctly? Does it put the videos in the center when they should be in the center? And does it format everything correctly?
Yes. However, there's a trick to that because it's also dependent on how the website has their markup language set up. Because it's not always raw HTML anymore. Sometimes it's JavaScript, and RSS and JavaScript don't always get along.
No, Feedly is one of the worst ones.
Yeah, but I honestly do think that it does a better job than Feedly does. That said, I haven't used Feedly in like the past 6 years, so I might be a little bit dated on that opinion. But
I only use Feedly for one reason and one reason only: for pirated game websites RSS feeds.
My podcast this week is so getting demonetized. That's twice the piracy word came up. That's awesome.
Or at least one of them. At least that one's not going to get you sued by Nintendo.
You guys are going to owe me like $3.50.
You're going to bankrupt me, man. Please don't do it.
What are you talking about? You owe us $15 because you bet about Audacity not picking up the right source. All right. By the way, I think I made a video on Newsflash before. I think that's a really good pick there, Josh. Thank you for that. Steve, your thingy of the week.
Diablo
oh God,
4.
Lord! I shouldn't have even asked.
Reason it's Diablo 4 because I've been playing Diablo since the day it was released in 1997. That dates me. But I love that series. I hated
Around the time you were born, Tyler.
Tyler, yeah. But the Diablo Immortal was the worst one of them all. I didn't touch that with a 10-foot pole because it was all about money making and monetizing. It was they have since fixed it, I guess. They came up with an announcement, but I don't play Diablo on mobile. So when I installed it, first thing I did, I bought it, and I bought the digital deluxe edition to get early access. Cost me $89.99. The most expensive game I ever bought. I installed it, downloaded it, and installed it directly on the Steam Deck. it had its quirks where it rebooted my Steam Deck every now and again because optimization issues. But I can confirm they fixed it because on the podcast, as the guys were talking about the Shingama Bum Bum Boomba Linux distro, I was enjoying it on the Steam Deck, and that area got fixed. It's no longer kicking me out, so there was a 200 meg update. But it ran on the Steam Deck 40 FPS flawless at medium setting. So I was like, they optimized it for the Steam Deck out of the gate because you get the buttons, button indicator, what each button does, what you open your inventory and stuff like that. Graphically, when I played it on the desktop, of course, because here on the Steam Deck you have to set it to medium, so the high-res texture pack that downloads with the game is a waste of space. I played it on the desktop. My jaw dropped to the floor. I couldn't pick up my jaw because the graphics were beyond stunning.
You know, the best part about Microsoft acquiring Activision is that maybe they'll bring Diablo and all those games and stuff to Steam. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That's what everyone is hoping for.
No more stupid Blizzard BS.
I think the more likely to lock into the Windows Store.
Is the worst.
Well, no, they have Halo on Steam, so I'm assuming. I mean,
but didn't come to Steam first.
Well, no, I'm not expecting it. I'm not expecting it to come first. I'm just eventually somewhere down the line. It would be nice to be able to download, Overwatch or Hearthstone or Diablo from Steam. That'd be cool.
I mean, you'd think they'd want to make that extra money eventually too.
Yeah, but Diablo 4 comes with a major flaw.
You can't stop playing it.
No, it's more major than that. The single player story is an afterthought.
Oh, that's a shame.
This time around, because they concentrated on people online playing and doing the PvP and the
single player stories are going the way of the dodo. That's just the way it is.
Unfortunate. It's really unfortunate.
The way,
because
you guys remember Call of Duty used to have that was the focus was the single player story. Now it's all about multiplayer.
Yeah, and the fact that they're using some people call it woke, but they're using women actresses and whatever to sell the product, and even the big baddie of the game is Lilith, and she's not scary one bit. She talks with a very mild voice, and she's
hot. She got big booba,
this is what they're using to. I'm like, what the hell? Where the hell did the game go? Where did the story go?
It's going to be another 10 years till game developers are like, you know what? Let's make like scary villains again. Because right now, what's just in is making really hot villains, or really just every character being hot. Because let's be honest, if you're trying to sell skins, they need to be hot. If you're trying to get some guy to pay $20 for a skin, it's got to be a pretty hot skin. I mean, let's just be real.
Yeah, and the whole story in Diablo 4 is like, give in to your sin, I'm like, that's the only lines that Lilith says throughout the whole game in different shapes or forms, but that's the only thing she says throughout the game.
Don't spoil the game
scary.
Man. Come on now.
It's
what really sold to me was the microtransactions that pop up every 3 minutes.
No more transactions. They relegated that to a tab called the shop. You only go there when you're desperate for money to buy things, for silver to buy things. They relegated it to one tab. You can ignore it completely.
Okay.
And in the game, there's only one good part of the game. It's gold plentiful. Like every guy you kill will give you 20, 30, 40, even 100 gold. So
okay,
you're never gonna.
It's not a blatant cash grab.
No. But
Well, I mean, other than it being $100 for the pack that's actually worth it. Because sure, you could pay $60-$70 for the base version, but you don't get shit with that. You might as well be getting spit on by the developers.
Yeah, that and the fact that the story is non-existent. It's almost non-existent.
Like I don't understand how we've gotten to a point in gaming where it's just accepted that games are going to remove like 1/3 of the features out of the game and then charge you an extra $30-$40 on top of the base game for that. That's wild.
Did Josh just say rest in peace to the Unabomber in the chat?
I did because I went to go back and close the newsflash window, and I saw an article where he died today.
He was 81, so it sounds like. Tyler, your thing is no, guys. This podcast has got to end sometime, please. Tyler, your thingy of the week, please.
Mine is it's the one of the nicest features of Linux, and Josh knows about it. I'm sure plenty of people in chat do as well, but not the Blender screen, but the fact that I'm showing it off. L4, L2 loopback using the nice OBS virtual cam features. It's really nice. It is genuinely nice to be able to switch back and forth from a webcam and sharing your screen. And
Tyler, would you do me a big favor? Like, you and I are friends, right? Would you do me a favor and find your YouTube password so you can make a video on how to do that?
Oh, yeah. Me and Josh would be more than happy to do that, because the only reason this bitch works is because Josh was willing to hold my hand throughout the entire process. Because I was ready to. There was at one point where I was genuinely ready to go out into my yard, pick up a rock, and walk in and just smash my computer to bits. I
looked at the documentation many times in order to figure out how to do that, and it just makes me stare at it dumbly. I almost start to drool because my IQ just bleeds out of my ears.
So Matt, what distro are you on right now?
OpenSUSE Tumbleweed. Okay,
I will make a video right after this podcast, right before emergency distro hacking, on how to enable that on OpenSUSE Tumbleweed, and I'll upload it. That way you can watch it on Thursday at 2 p.m. because it's the only time I ever upload.
Okay, that's
cool.
Hold
on, boys. I have the most podcaster thing that I've got to do right now. Mom, shut up! I'm on the podcast.
All right. I don't think I want to do my thing of the week. I think we need to end there. I think that needs to be
Matt, you're the racing channel. You got to do your thingy.
Yeah, okay. So my pick last time we did a podcast was Pywall, and now I'm going to do one that goes with it. So if you use Pywall, which you should if you're in a window manager and you want to theme your window manager automatically based on your wallpaper, it is amazing. But also there's a tool called Pywall Fox, and you install it, you start the daemon, and it will change your Firefox theme to match your Pywall colors. It is awesome. I mean, it's like so freaking good. Because one of the things, I used to create all of my own themes, right? Like, I spent a lot of time making videos about creating my own themes. And one of the hardest things to do is finding a Firefox theme that goes with a pre-created theme. Like, there are obviously dozens and hundreds of thousands of themes or whatever on the Firefox store, but finding one that goes with it, and you always have to set it manually. Now there are ways of getting around that. You can change the GTK theme if you set it for automatic GTK theme, but that means that a GTK theme has to exist. This is automatic, and you can just issue a command inside of the terminal to get Firefox to update the theme. So every time, I just wrote a script, so it'll change the wallpaper, it'll change the Pywall, it does the Pywall color scheme, it restarts Qtile, and it issues the command to reset the Firefox theme as well. It's awesome. So if you are at all into theming your window manager, look into Pywall, look into Pywall Fox. My next challenge is, what the hell is it called? It's called Themix, and Oomox, OOMOX. There is a way to get
Themix, which used to be called Oomox.
Yeah, they're together. So I haven't gotten into it at all, so I don't know anything about it yet. All I know is supposedly there's a way to use it with Pywall, which means that your GTK themes will also take on the color scheme. So, yeah, that's my thing of the week.
But does it work with Libet White?
You couldn't get me to touch GNOME with a 10-foot pole.
Josh, look, Josh, I need you to talk some sense into Matt over here. And Steve, I know you've probably had some conversations with Matt now that you're a GNOME user as well behind the scenes, but we all need Josh to just come out and say it. He's having a deep, passionate love affair with GNOME behind the scenes. He doesn't want anyone to know about it, but it's fine. It's totally okay.
I mean, I'm using the most GNOME stack of GNOME stacks. You guys might see that I have a Firefox window open, but I'm not using Firefox as my daily web browser. In fact, my last video was not recorded using OBS Studio. My last video was actually recorded using Cheese and Pipewire with some Pipewire magic. But anyways, I am using an almost 100% full GNOME stack. And I'll be honest with you, Epiphany is actually a usable web browser. It's not the greatest, it's not the fastest, but it's usable. That's the important part.
I still won't use GNOME, and I'm not having
Essentially, Josh is trying
hold on.
Come on,
now, Matt,
come on,
if
man.
you want
I tell you to get Matt out and be public about his love affair with GNOME, and you're over here talking about how Epiphany is like going to get a participation trophy.
Hold on. There's more to this. You guys might remember that we've mentioned this application a while ago called Gradients, right? Gradients is Pywall on fucking steroids with Epiphany. Because not only will gradients affect your shell, your GTK, and it theme, but it will also affect your wallpaper, and it can affect the rendered dark mode on websites too.
That's pretty cool.
Yes.
I made a video about gradients. It's fine. It's not Pywall. It's not a window manager. It's GNOME.
No.
Like, okay,
yeah.
Matt, the same way you won't touch GNOME with a 10-foot pole is way I won't touch a window manager.
Usually, Steve, we're much more in sync than this. Usually we're very much more in sync with this. This is where we're opposites. All right. Anyways, that is holy hell the podcast.
We forgot the podcast.
That was not the Linux cast. That was Rantcast.
Yeah,
or just four dudes hanging out.
We had a time. We'll be back to doing the news next week, where it's much more. Normally, we think that our normal structure is not actually structured. This was just proving us wrong. We'll go back to the normal structure next week. If you want to watch us live, and I assure you that you do, because we're much more entertaining live and in color, you can do so on the Linux Cast YouTube channel, youtube.com/LinuxCast. We record live every Saturday around 3:00 p.m. Eastern Time. That is the time where we go live. We usually then go for about 2 hours or so.
Dang it, Matt! You broke my color.
Man, yeah. I'm getting trolled at this point on my own podcast. You guys don't even, it's like I'm not even liked anymore. Anyways, head on over to the YouTube, give it a thumbs up, give us a subscribe. Really appreciate it. Before I go, I should take a moment to thank my current patrons. Thanks to everybody who does support me on Patreon at patreon.com/LinuxCast. You guys are awesome. There's some like horns going on in the background as a celebratory.
Somebody's getting married.
Well, Mazel Tov. Anyways, that's the end of it. Thanks everybody for watching. Thanks everybody who supports me on Patreon. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week.
Boy.
Bye, everybody.
Skits.
Bye.
More comedy skits.
Subscribe to 10 Lee J. He doesn't have enough subscribers.